And we are here, episode 200. To get something quickly out of the way, some people were wondering why I haven't reviewed Hulk vs. Godzilla. This will be the last time I say this, because I brought it up a few times before, but this is probably the best place to say it. I worked on that episode, so there's an inherent bias way stronger than any other death battle, and I cannot really avoid that. I am not comfortable making a review on something that I've worked on, and I don't know where I could draw the line on pulling back the curtain to say where and what I influenced. Anyway, episode 200. Rose vs. Maka Albarn and Soul Eater. As usual, here's the history I have with the characters. Skip here if you just want to hear my opinion on the episode. My history with Ruby is tumultuous to say the least, but at the end of the day, it's a series that matters a lot to me. I may not be the biggest fan of how it has progressed, how it's done some of its character writing, or how it has strayed from the imagination and brightness that I came to love with the first two volumes, back when it took a solid millennia for Volume 3 to manifest. Ruby herself is a character that I liked, came to dislike as she began to feel incredibly static and sanctimonious with her constant pontifical speeches, and then came back around to loving when Volume 9 brought the honestly small hints of her deeper character around into the forefront and gave her a great arc. I wasn't big in how the other members of Team Ruby had to be incredibly ignorant to her feelings in a way that felt out of character to me for that arc to work, but to say that's on Ruby would be wrong. Ruby's arc in that is great. She is a comfort character for me, and in my own parody abridged series, she's probably the character I put the most time into writing my own kind of arc for. And of course, I wrote a long-term depression arc that ended up coinciding exactly with what Volume 9 would later to, which is really funny. But also, I'm one of the few people here to whom I've seen Soul Eater. It's a series where I'm pretty sure I've read all the manga, but I can't be certain I ever finished it. I probably need to give it another read. But I really love it too. It has more issues in different ways to Ruby overall, most notably its obsession with the little girl's panties, but the characters make the story very enjoyable. And the first 20 episodes of the anime are peak content. I don't get to talk about it much, but it's really good stuff. Stein and Kid are my goats, but I also do like Maka a lot. That said, my favorite character in this battle might actually be Soul. He's such a bro. He's not a comfort like Ruby, nor am I as consistently entertained with him like Maka, but he is just that guy. He has that aura, and I relate a lot with the feelings of inadequacy and not being good enough that permeates the relationship they have. So suffice to say, I quite like both characters and was very excited for this episode. This episode that Monty himself asked for many years ago. And now that the time has passed, they can give it the attention and love it deserves. So how did this end up? Well, starting with the analysis for Ruby, there's a lot I like and a lot I don't like. Obviously things like the editing go crazy. I love the petals in the background of the sidebars, and the text is always very nicely presented. I especially love this bit showing the original trailer clips for wives Blake and Yang all up in the air, which if you don't know was the motif shared across all four of the original trailers. Though I did find the Ruby joke a bit of a groaner. It's pretty brief, but I think it felt more annoying than it should have because there's this build up to it that felt really telegraphed. The farm by Aura line is a bit forced, but I'll give it a solid B+ when it comes to working in an Aura farming joke. That's a Raymond tier joke, yeah. And there's some things I'm not big on, but aren't too huge a deal. Like, they claim this is an actual particle beam, and I had to go look for the source on this, because this could have just been a dust beam. It really bothered me. I looked everywhere I could. The subtitles on the video don't call it a particle beam, the Ruby Wiki transcript doesn't say so, I watched some of the commentaries and they don't say anything about particle beams with dust. It's not mentioned in the Dust episode of World of Remnant, it's not in the manga, the entire sequence isn't in Ice Cream Them at all, so it's in Amity Arena. It had to be in Amity Arena, and the bio in the Ruby Wiki says it shoots a laser, but a different wiki says it's a particle cannon. So, which one is it? I don't know. I want something more concrete than this, but with that game being shut down, unfortunately, that might not be possible. I wish that there was something on screen to back this up though, because what a claim to make without a source. But what I really don't like, and the thing that I think bothers me the most in this entire episode, is how they ended Ruby's analysis. They did such a great job building up to her arc, an arc that honestly didn't feel nearly as natural in the show itself in my opinion. But they successfully build her up as the simple soul, the beacon of hope, the one whose scythe grows heavy, who feels the weight of the world on her shoulders, and then they don't go any further. Instead of actually exploring the volume that is focused on Ruby's story, about her descent into self-doubt when her greatest plan comes crashing down around her, how she felt like she failed everyone, and eventually managed to turn that around in her head into lashing out at them for putting it all on her. The beacon of hope that nobody tended to, that had no shoulder of her own to cry on. All leading up to the moment where she would be pushed one step too far and choose to take her own life and be reborn as something different, something better. needing to realize and see for herself that her mother was not the infallible perfect icon she had built herself up as, and that in trying to be an icon that never existed, she broke herself. Not just getting over having the weight of the world placed on her, but rather realizing that she never needed to have it on her in the first place. She was the leader of a team. It was a weight to be shared. There was no being reborn into a perfect being, because sometimes the perfect thing you can be is you. And I know the death bell doesn't always go into the details. Trust me, I know people weren't happy that I suggested Master Chief vs. Doomslayer should have gone into their characters literally at all, instead of just being focused on how grimdark and cool they are. And in that case, I can understand it. Most people don't care about Slayer's character because, yes, it's there, but I'm not lost to the fact that Doom likes to focus a lot more on the epic brutality, and I love those games, and I would still love them even if Slayer didn't have a personality at all. And most people generally don't pick up on Chief's character because a lot of it is a lot more subtle, and importantly, contained in the books. So while I disagree with the notion that they shouldn't have touched it at all and it wasn't worth it, I understand why some people would feel that it wasn't necessary. But given how well they built up to this moment in Ruby's analysis, and how fantastic the other analysis in this episode is at covering her opponent's arc, I'm let down here. This isn't a case of me saying I would prefer the episode do something it didn't want to, it's a case of me wondering why the care wasn't given to both sides of the coin. I don't need them to go into all the detail, I just did. God knows that would go on too long. They don't do not death battle length 15-minute analysis segments per character. Which I get, they have actual editors to pay, instead of just being a group of two bum Australians with nothing better to do. But I would have liked more than just, hey, she got over it. This is the big arc for Ruby, and it's glossed over in the most Ruby, more like bad way possible. And again, part of what bothers me is that Maka's analysis is fucking perfect. Again, editing, amazing, and I like this. I like the fact they put stuff in the back of sidebars. It makes me happy. It makes them more visually dynamic. It's cool. I like it a lot. Both analyses use direct quotes and analogies that the shows themselves use, but I think in Soul Eater's case they work a little better, and I think the higher manga content means the editing got to stand out more when doing stuff like this. I love the musical Yin Yang especially. That is such a cool edit. Though Death the Kid not getting name dropped does make me want to die. I especially love that one moment where they subtly correlate the Maka Soul relation to Wiz and Boomstick. That's really fun. I never even thought of that. But yeah, Maka is that smarter, but kind of less free one, and Soul is the very relaxed, very casual guy who's pretty cool, but can be a bit lackadaisical. I never even considered that, but that's such a nice way to connect it. I love the way they did the whole storyline and arc, emphasizing the connection between the two, and how they have to rein the other in. The ways they've grown past their madness, and at last the final moments of doubt and how they resolved it. The issues with Krona, how they helped them, the way they overcame Ashura, it's all fantastic. Yes, I know the Soul Eater actually has an ending, so of course it'd be more cinematic and climactic than Ruby's, but that's not the element that, bothers me. It's the fact that this one actually tried. Oh, and the ending with the knock on death's door bit, perfection. Amazing. I don't know, Maka's analysis was perfect. I have no notes. What, this edit here looks a little wonky on Death himself? Is that really that big a deal? They didn't bring up Soul's own inferiority complex as strongly as they did Maka's. Yeah, but I think it was fantastic anyway. They brought up the main things. It was just fantastic. So with one analysis that's good up to a point, and one analysis that's all around fantastic, that leaves us with the fight. And honestly, outside of one shot, I really love this. But first, I find the use of the Summer Rose colors for cross-tag Ruby here to be quite amusing. Anyway, yeah, big fan of this fight. First of all, I love the visuals. Instead of looking really weird and bad like Yang vs Tifa, or just trying to imitate Ruby more or less with Weiss vs Mitsuru, or being whatever the hell Blake vs Mikasa is doing, this has a beautiful aesthetic. I love the colors. Though everything is shaded purple, so maybe that's bias. I especially love the almost Moro-esque lighting, if you get what I'm talking about. This just looks so good. They're 3D models, but they have that yellow and white edging on them that gives them an almost two-dimensional pop to them. You could buy it being 2D at a standstill, but it moves so fluid and beautifully. This Maka model should look weird to me, because, it is a bit weird. But the lighting and the way it's handled, I think, are great. The lighting also means this drawing of Ruby, made by my goat, Laroldo Logwinner, gets to look like it has purple hair. Also, I think it's fun that this is Volume 1 Ruby. This is a really outdated sketch, and Maka immediately gets to work. Also, Zoro vs Urza reference based? What a fun way to start the fight. Maka is here to hunt Little Red Riding Hood, which matches how she's often sent to hunt demons based on random figures and people. I did see somewhere that the idea was that Salem was like tricking Lord Death to get Ruby out the way, which, okay, I think it's just more fun if there just happens to be a demon who looks like Little Red Riding Hood and Maka mistakes Ruby for it. Like, that would be way more amusing to me. And really, I like that the main reason that she goes in the attack is because she just can't handle what the fuck Ruby said. And Ruby has kind of lost her weapon lust in the recent years, so seeing her make a comeback for this is super fun. I love how it goes. In general, the characters are really fun in this one. Ruby has most of the actively fun lines, coming back at Maka and Soul's comments, complimenting Maka's attack but then being annoyed by it. The "I'm Ruby Rose and I am a huntress" line is a little weird, admittedly. I feel like kind of random for Ruby to bust it out of nowhere, but it's really just so Maka can learn her name for the end of the fight. Maka gets more focus as a character, but I think that's unavoidable given the context of the matchup. She is the more thoughtful of the two in terms of how she fights most of the time, and she needs that extra dialogue to get interactions from Soul. And honestly, when it comes to the tag team characters, and by that I don't mean, say, Clank, who is a named combatant in the episode's title, or Otacon, who isn't technically part of Snake's arsenal but included just for fun, I think Soul is by far the best one. You're not counting those. Compared to the abused Senketsu or whoever the hell the Black Clover guy is, we're still waiting for him to clock into work, Soul is handled perfectly. I think Ragnarok was also done well in his episode, but I think that's just hard to mess up. Soul gets plenty of dialogue, and I love how he plays off Maka. Hell, he even gets a line to play off Ruby, which, how rare is that? Calling out her moves is great, referring to her as Red because 1, they don't know her name, and 2, he does kind of have Roman but not evil energy. They get their Soul Resonant moment, there's the black dress, and I love the bit leading up the Soul Adagio where Maka calls in to help and he's just like, relax, and plays that instrumental of Paper Moon. Oh god, I wanted this with Ryuko, and I'm upset. As for that moment, I love how the music plays into it. Like with the fight having that early volumes Ruby energy for a lot of it, but then going into that piano solo for the ending, oh my god, it's so fucking good, I love that. And yeah, then there's the action itself. What happens in the fight? For one thing, it's so kinetic and fluid. The camera work is beautiful, it's always making sure everything important is visible. The focus of any shot is what it's looking at. The usage of Ruby's spinny weapon effect looks nice here, honestly a little better than most of when Ruby does it even. The Pedal Burst Tornado looks a little weird, as does how bored Maka looks during the Soul Resonance shot, and But like Ruby does her spinning time attack from the first chapter of Volume 6, I love this little bit of Maka doing the thing with Krona where she drags Ruby closer and uses the hook of the scythe to trap her for a bitch smacking. It's a bit weird how Ruby's lines sound like she's stopping on purpose instead of saying stop hitting me between being hit, and it's weird for her to just let this happen anyway. Small detail, but it's one I imagine most won't even register. It's funny though, and I like that her response is to just use gun. There's this wonderful bit on the roof with Maka blocking the shots, this amazing shot of her in front of the moon, Ruby actually scoring a good hit and nearly winning if it weren't for Soul backing Maka up, a great way to show their bond. This shot of Soul's a little weird, but it's made up for by how much character is in the next one. I love this. This bit on the roof I'm not as hot on, not the actual lines themselves. Like Maka noticing Ruby's soul forms a barrier and the interaction with Soul, that's great. But I think this is the only part of the fight where the characters don't look like they're actually in the environment. I think seeing their outlines like this on the flat surface with no shadows kind of makes it look a bit off. Though the second moment like this at least has some really nice action. I really like Maka going for the same move and Ruby countering with a punch. It's a much more natural equivalent of when she did that to Mercury in Volume 5, though the high speed clash looks really bad to me for some reason. There was a low frame rate moment too earlier, but the choppiness I think was fine because of how it was done. Here though, it feels like they're just randomly choppy. I said in my reaction it felt like a lesser version of the high-speed fight from Shin Kamen Rider, and I still kind of think that. I like the visual flair of it, the silhouettes, the flashing light, like that's cool, but I think especially Maka looks really choppy when she doesn't have the hood that Ruby does to kind of give a sense of motion and fluidity. But like Ruby goes for the War Scythe, which I can only recall her going for in the Red trailer and the Volume 4 trailer. She might have used it again in Volume 6 during the train fight, but I don't remember. It's so cool to see that. There's the actual conclusion of Soul Adagio turning off Ruby's aura, the scream from Yang, which really should be Weiss because they're fucking, and then the Silver Eyes blast, which it looks nice, though it's really mostly nice because of this shot. Oh, I love the black and white shot of Maka getting hit and powering through. And unlike Weiss, Ruby got to actually have a death on screen that isn't just being frozen and poked. She splits in half, but there's no blood, there's no excessive gore, she explodes into petals that go out even into the aspect ratio's border. It's so well done a death. It's simple, it's very clear that it's dead, like she's gone, but it's not unnecessarily gory, which especially I think is just great. I love this little detail of Soul going in to eat Ruby's soul, but Maka stopping him and cradling it in her hands instead. Also, Ruby whitewashed the dress. Just such a good fight. There's points where it falls a little flat to me, and I can't deny that. But it is a love letter to the characters. The references all feel natural and are interspersed with their own fun, unique fighting moments. The characters get to have entertaining, wonderful interactions. It's so bloody fluid. Some of the smoothest and best shot weapon action in recent death battle history, all while looking gorgeous. I love how the fight looks. It's a visual phenom. Everything about this is full of passion and love. I love the animation, I love the choreography, the visuals, Godzilla's cameo is very funny, and I love the track. Death in Bloom is a track I actually feel like bringing up. You guys don't need to tell me that I forgot it. Don't worry, I didn't forget it. No, I totally forget it every time I did bring it up. It's so goddamn nice, even just on its own. I've personally found Casey Lee Williams a bit flat in a lot of the more recent Ruby tracks. There are still a couple good ones, but they don't tend to capture me as much, but this one has so much passion in it. I love her deliveries. I also like the performance of the VTuber, whose birthday is really close to mine. The lyrics as well, in particular, Keep Moving Forward, The Promise We Made. I really like that one. I think it's a nice way to work in Keep Moving Forward and reference both the characters and the history of the matchup and episode itself as the promise Ben and Chad made. And ending on that, I wish that you could see me now, just, man, my heart. And the voice acting too. Obviously Lindsay's doing her Lindsay thing. Like, that is the Ruby voice. What else could you ask for? But Ginger Sue does a really good job as Maka. And John Van Doren's Soul might be my favorite performance in the episode. Like, it's so good at capturing that dub voice and how he sounds, and the dub voice was a perfect voice for Soul, I think. The episode was made with a lot of love, and it's hard not to see that. I don't think you can reasonably ask for much more from a fight with Ruby or Maka without wanting them to blow the budget. Yeah, I know there was stuff I didn't like in there, but that's just how I roll. Loving something is about taking the good with the bad, recognizing the flaws and loving it anyway, not blindly accepting whatever is given to you. So with that said, the conclusion was kind of whatever to me. The strength part is whatever. I don't really buy scaling to a feat that killed the guy they're scaling to personally, but I see the argument. Acknowledging our characters get more powerful or faster since a feat occurred is not something Death Battle does always, so I appreciate that. Though, the fact that they only did it for Ruby and not Maka is a bit funny. The Scythe 3 bit is kind of fun. I like that Wiz does play into it after a moment, but I'm not into the whole Maka is just the guide for Soul's movement as an argument against her skill. I would say, if anything, the ability to fight while you only have some control of your weapon but managing to do just the same amount of fancy moves is actually more impressive, but I agree with the idea that experience is the turning point. I really don't buy the whole Silver Eyes explanation, but looking at just the episode itself and ignoring bringing in my own context, it's a standard conclusion. I like the bond between Maka and Soul being a factor. I think the pun is fine, but it would be more fun if it wasn't 3 separate Ruby puns in a row. But I like the, wait, his name is Soul Evans? Bit at the end. That's, it's fun. So at the end of the day, did the episode live up to what I wanted it to be? Yes and no. The fight was fantastic. Maka's analysis was fantastic. It all shapes up to be like a 9 or 10 out of 10. It's all I could ask for, but that one blip in Ruby's analysis, I know some people will be wondering why is it such a big deal, but for me personally, the analysis is one of my favorite things about Death Battle, or in Versus in general. I've watched a lot of Versus analyses, and I love it when I get to see people engaging with characters they love and express their stories. This year we've had analyses like Shigaraki, which sold me on a character I previously didn't care about. Like Simone's, they showed a huge love for the character being talked about. Like Azura's, they show a greater understanding of a character beyond the common image that they're known for. And like Maka's, that are just perfect. And to have Ruby's all build up to a great moment, and them end with the most uninterested, she got over it, really fucking bugs me. I still quite like the episode. I'm fond of what it's going for, I love that fight. It might still be one of my favorites of the year. And that last bit, ending on the thank you to Monty, yeah, I'm happy, I'm satisfied. On a technical level, there are flaws. From a writing standpoint, it could improve, but I don't see how anyone could ignore the heart and soul put in to our 200th Death Battle. And maybe that's what really matters the most in the end. Or, you know, something like that. Bottom line, I really enjoyed the episode despite the fact that I have issues with it. Now, tell me what you think below, though. I've seen a lot of positive reception for this one, so I get the feeling most people are going to at least agree with the ending sentiment of, I still quite like the episode. But, yeah. That was the 200th episode. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you think it compares to our 100th episode. Just, share your thoughts down below. It's all good here. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say, except that I'm glad to have some actual content out for September. Yeah, I will be hard at work trying to get some more content out for October. Don't worry, I have ideas, I have videos I want to make. I just need to find the time to get all of them consolidated and just out for you to see. This might include the next Not Death Battle, but don't count on that one. But, yeah. So, that was Ruby vs. Maka. I would say, it's probably my favorite Ruby episode on Death Battle. It's definitely my favorite Soul Eater episode. Its only competition to me is Weiss vs. Mitsuru. Weiss probably has the less annoying analysis in terms of how it ends, but I think the fight is not as good. And I just don't care about Mitsuru yet. I will play Persona 3 eventually, don't worry. I have reasons that I will get to that. But yeah, so that's about that. We're nearing the end of this year of Death Battle. There are only 3 more episodes to go. So tell me what you think's gonna drop after Blade vs. Buffy and whatever comes after that. Yeah. Thank you to everyone scrolling by for supporting me on Patreon. You have no idea how big a help you are. If you want to join, you will get access to the Patreon-only Discord. Then at the end of these kinds of videos, you can make me say something stupid. And let's see what they've got for me today. Let's just take a look. Let's not waste any time. Nothing much. Real creative there. I would say, honestly, like a 2, because the head, nothing on the head, nothing on the hands, nothing on the feet. Too lazy. Too lazy. And the price, for that price, you can do so much better. Love yourself, man. I'm going to Jeff the Kill You! I don't care what you wanted me to, what voice you wanted me to say that in, you're getting that. Write 4242564 for when it'll be the day we open up the door.
Time to go on a worldwide heist and have the best wedding ever! Aim for the fucking Pentagon!
Fuck thing is, I can absolutely see Soul doing this and saying it like this, thinking it's really cool. 2 tickets to the Minions movie, please. 2 tickets to Minions, The Rise of Gru, thanks. You bet it on my Soul voice. I mean, it's kind of just my normal voice. It's not like I do anything really crazy when I'm voicing Soul. Syndrome's remote! Let's fucking go! Oh, it's me, Donovan. This is no mere game, boy. That sounded nothing like him.
You are not leaving me alone in the 0-1 club!
Death Battle has forgotten about DC. Bob, my thoughts are that right about now it's time to rock with the Biggity Buck Bumble. Ruby. It's not funny. Fuck's sake. Ruby Rose. I got this, I'll be fine. Ruby Rose? Ruby fell? Okay, well that'll be that. I hope that was entertaining. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed the review. Yeah, it was a blast to make, it was a blast to watch the episode. Wow, we're really past the 200 point now. I mean, so it's something you just gotta take in sometimes, how far it's come, you know? I've been here since Boba Fett vs. Samus Aran. I've been here a little longer than most other people. Why have I been here so long? Most people have dropped out by now. Oh, I don't know. But hey, here's to another 100 more. We'll see where it goes. Though, at the rate Death Battle's currently going, they'll take a solid decade, roughly. Not exactly a decade, but you know, it'll take like 5 years to get to 60. So, well, no, because there's gonna be 3 more this year. So we'll be at 203. So we'll be at 263 in 5 years. You know, it's really not worth looking at. But you know, it'll be about 8 and a bit years. 8 and a bit years, and then we'll get to episode 300. So, by then, who knows if Deathbell's still around, who knows if I'll be still around, making videos at least, or alive in general. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. For now, hope to see you next video. Have a good one, folks.